Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
The judge drops a major charge against some of the Wolverine watchmen. We'll break it all down for you.
And shots fired on I-94. A tow truck driver says he was shot at, and the other driver just took off.
But we begin here at 5 with the coronavirus. The surge isn't slowing down. The state reports 8,202 cases over the past 2 days. That averages out to 4,100 cases per day. Along with that, 8 new deaths are being reported over that same 2-day period.
And it is good news across the board with the vaccine. 575,000 new doses have been distributed here to Michigan since Friday, putting that total at 4.9 million. And the number of doses administered has gone way up over the weekend, with 200,000 more shots going into arms.
At a news conference today, Mayor Duggan said it's younger people who are testing positive in this latest surge, and he wants the city to fix that.
They plan to do it by opening up vaccinations to all Detroiters 16 and up. Mara McDonald live at the TCF Center tonight with all the details. Mara.
Hi, Karen. The mayor made it clear that because of those surging case numbers, because hospitalizations are rising, he said Detroit needs to take action. And that action means that starting today, you can call the city's COVID hotline and sign yourself up for a vaccine if you're 16 years and older. Let me show you. The explosion of positive COVID cases isn't just hitting the elderly anymore.
What we are seeing today is hospitalizations of people in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. We haven't seen this before, but what's driving the hospitalization trends are younger Detroiters. And the fact they're hospitalized tells you that this infection, particularly I believe the British variant of it, is hitting a lot harder than we were hit before.
Duggan says the city has to tackle it, and to that end, any Detroiter who is 16 and up can call the city's COVID line today and schedule an appointment, not just for the TCF Center, but for the Northwest Activities Center, where those one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccines are starting to arrive. But remember, you have to be 18 for the Johnson & Johnson, 16 and up for the Pfizer and Moderna.
We're going to start to enter the home stretch here, where we try to get every Detroiter vaccinated. I will keep saying this. This city could be reopened this summer. We could be life very similar to the way that we remember it before the summer's over if we get vaccinated.
Back here live, the mayor also made it clear that this Thursday is opening day for Tigers baseball. And he said this flat out: if you do not have a ticket for this game, do not come down to Detroit. There isn't going to be tailgating. There isn't going to be a big outdoor party. He also says that bars will have their occupancy checked consistently by the Detroit Health Department. They're going to be serious about this. So I know there are a lot of Tigers fans who think that opening day is a sacred holiday to them. I think this year it's not going to be that. We're live downtown tonight at the TCF Center. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
And Mara, I do understand there's also some major vaccination news today from Meijer.
There sure is, Karen. Meijer sent out a blast today saying that every Meijer location in the state of Michigan will now be up and running when it comes to dispensing COVID-19 vaccine. They think they're going to have 150,000 shots in arms this week. We're live downtown tonight. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mara. Now, to major developments in court for the men accused of plotting to kidnap Governor Whitmer.
Today, a Jackson County judge threw out one of the most serious charges in the case, citing freedom of speech. Let's bring in defender Sean Lay, who closely followed today's hearing. And Sean, it seems like the judge really took his time laying out why he came to that decision.
Absolutely, Kimberly. The charge we're talking about is a 20-year felony that 2 of these men were facing, called terroristic threatening, for anything they said if they wanted to go after the governor, or if they allegedly said they wanted to go after politicians and possibly shoot them. Well, the judge says if no one in the public actually hears the threats, his ruling, no one's actually being threatened.
Boy, your interpretation really screws up the definition of threat as everyone else understands it to be.
I think I'm keeping this alive.
It reminds me of Dr. Strangelove. You know, the doomsday machine. The Russians have the doomsday machine, and they want it to serve as a deterrent. And Dr. Strangelove says, well, in order for it to be a deterrent, you got to tell someone.
Jackson County Judge Michael Kalarin strongly challenging the state attorney general's office over freedom of speech versus making terroristic threats. The state has charged Wolverine Watchman members Pete Musico, the founder, and his son-in-law Joseph Bellar of what they believe are threats of terror made towards the governor on social media. And an informant told the FBI Musico was the main man of the Watchmen, allegedly saying that if members weren't for political violence, that they could leave. State prosecutors say their intent was violence, and it was clear. The judge said their words are protected under the First Amendment.
It's not going to be blabbed to the outside world, but the person must be receiving a threat of terrorism.
Now, look, that's just one charge dropped on two of the guys. These guys were bound over on multiple other charges. We'll break those down at 6. Dana Nessel, Attorney General, says she's pleased the men will face trial on those existing charges. As for the other charge dropped, Dana Nessel's office says Judge Killeen ruled that the defendants will not be tried on charges of threat of terrorism. The Attorney General will explore all options for reconsideration of the charge moving forward. And guys, we'll talk about the charges that did stick that these men are now facing at 6. Back to you.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Sean, part of that is that the judge ruled that the Wolverine Watchmen are considered a gang, taking part in gang activities, right?
Gang activity, that is one of the big charges, and also calling the Wolverine Watchmen the AAA team for what he called domestic terrorists, guys that they were tied to, helping them achieve the goals that they say they wanted to achieve. So it wasn't just dropping this charge. He was also very harsh on the defendants as well. You'll hear that at 6.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it. We'll see you then, Sean. Thank you. Well, tonight, state police are investigating after a tow truck driver was shot at while driving on I-94 through Detroit.
Yeah, this happened this afternoon in the eastbound lanes right near that I-75 interchange. Our Tim Pamplin has an update as police shut down the freeway looking for clues.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kim and Karen. We're above 94 eastbound at 75. The freeway was shut down there for, as you say, yet another freeway shooting. Members of Michigan State Police and the K9 units walking along 94 looking for shell casings converging en masse after what police call a road rage incident led to bullets striking the tow truck driver's vehicle. We just got some sound with that truck driver.
The whole time he was behind me, he tried to come around me to sideswipe me, but I wouldn't let him. And then somehow he made it, from the right side of me to the median. He pulled out his gun and shot at me.
That tow truck driver uninjured. The freeway just opening back up now, but you can expect some residual backups on eastbound 94 around 75. That's the scene along 94. Tim Pamplin, Local 4.
Police charged 6 people with homicide in an Eastpointe murder case. Police say a 38-year-old man was shot in his car near Rain and Gratiot Avenue. 18 shell casings from 2 different weapons were found at that scene. Police say there was little information to go on at the time. Police say they were able to solve the investigation after carefully reviewing evidence for weeks. Preliminary exam starts April 7th. After lengthy delays and weeks of legal wrangling, the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is underway.
Chauvin faces 3 charges: second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, and third-degree murder in the death of George Floyd. Jay Gray is in Minneapolis tonight as lawyers delivered opening statements.
Hey there, good evening. And here outside the courthouse, we've seen a steady stream of protesters as well as police, while inside the courtroom, both legal teams wasted little time laying out their strategy in this case.
Do you swear or affirm that you...
As the trial begins, the core of the prosecution's case is immediately clear. Out of respect for the family, we aren't showing the cell phone video that captured the final minutes of George Floyd's life. But the state wants to make sure jurors do see those images, opening with the video and including pictures of the incident on a timeline displayed in the courtroom.
Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed this badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
The defense countering during its open, telling the jury Chauvin did exactly what he was trained to do by Minneapolis police, and saying that other factors, including drugs and a heart condition, caused his death.
The use of force is not attractive. but it is a necessary component of policing.
The one you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
The first witness called by prosecutors, a 911 dispatcher who watched video from a street surveillance camera while working the call.
It was a gut instinct of, in the incident, something's not going right.
An instinct that pushed her to make this call to a supervisor.
I don't know if they had used force or not. They got something out of the back of the squad, and all of them sat on this man.
The dispatcher telling the jury it was the first time she'd ever made that type of call. Attorneys say there are around 400 potential witnesses in this case. Of course, they all won't be called to testify. The trial expected to last 3 to 4 weeks. In Minneapolis, I'm Jay Gray, Local 4.
Okay, Jay, thank you. The ship blocking the Suez Canal is fully dislodged. In other words, it's finally free.
Finally, tugboats managed to budge that 200,000-ton container ship that is as long as the Empire State Building is tall. So this means that one of the world's most vital sea shipping lanes is now open again. Billions of dollars of products pass through the canal every day. And when the ship was stuck, the backlog kept building. Even the U.S. had offered support.
We have equipment and capacity that most countries don't have, and we're seeing what we can be, what help we can be.
The ship's freedom, good news for both the ship and the world economy. The next challenge, experts say, will be to get the goods around the world back on track, something that could take weeks, even months.
All right, we are off and running here on a Monday. Let's check in with Hank.
A local father sharing his story, so frustrated with the unemployment insurance agency here in Michigan, and I know he's not alone. That's why we have important information tonight to help you too. It's coming up in my Help Me Hank report.
Overnight lows only about 10 degrees colder from where we're at right now, but the real dip in temperatures is coming, unfortunately, for opening day. We'll check out how chilly it's going to feel at the ballpark coming up.
Macomb County is opening another COVID-19 vaccination site, this time in Chesterfield Township. But you have to be a Chesterfield Township resident to get it.
Some of the nation's top legal minds file a complaint against one of Michigan's prosecutors, coming up why they say the Macomb County prosecutor blurred political and prosecuting lines.